Jen, and today I'm going to be teaching you about Amy Carmichael. Amy Carmichael was a missionary in 3 different places, which I will tell you later. You might be wondering why my hand is in a coffee bowl. I'll also tell you that later. Amy Carmichael was born September 16, 1867. She lived a long life, and at first, her first missionary program was the Shawlies organization for male girls who wore shawls, which is why it was called Shawlies. That grew up to about 200 people. Her next missionary trip, I guess, was with a man who she called the dear old man and his 2 sons. She worked with him because he was getting old, and he had loved her since she was only a kid. After that, she had decided to leave the dear old man and go to Japan. Well, first she decided to go to China, but due to health issues, that was delayed. Then she went to Japan. After that, she could not learn Japanese at all, so she couldn't live there. So she moved to Bangladesh, which didn't seem right for her. So then she moved to India, which at first didn't seem right for her either. But then when she saw the need there, she decided that she would stay. Amy Carmichael worked with temple girls who were very mistreated. They would live at the temple serving the gods and the people who came there. Thanks to Amy Carmichael, having temple girls in the temple is now illegal. One of the first kids that Amy Carmichael saved was a girl named Prina, who was 5 when she came to the temple. Amy Carmichael dyed her skin with coffee, that way she would blend in, and she wore traditional saris. That's the right word? I think it's the right word. Amy Carmichael would walk miles and miles through the harsh roads of India with the dust and the splinters and the bumpy rocks to save one child. That's a big commitment. One of Amy Carmichael's most famous quotes was, "You can give without loving, but you cannot love without giving." And she loved these people of India, and she gave her whole life. She spent 55 years there without furlough. Well, in all the countries. And now my sister is going to come over here and hold this while I point to the places where she was. So I'll start with her home country. Her home country was this little yellow dot next to London called Ireland. Then she was there. Then she went to Japan, which is this island. Then this little pink one, Bangladesh, and then the big one right next to her, which was India. The reason why Amy Carmichael became a missionary was due to her first mission trip that she was going to go on, which was the China Inland Mission. When she heard the leader of the China Inland Mission speech given by Hudson Taylor, she thought that she was being called to missionary work. But before she could go, she had to leave the dear old man, which was hard for her, so it took her a couple years, maybe 2 or 3, to decide that she wanted to be a missionary. And Amy Carmichael was a very strong missionary, and also founded the Donover Fellowship, which is homes for boys and girls in India who are mistreated, abused, or orphaned, I think. Yeah. And now we're going to pause, and we're going to wipe off my hand and see what it looks like. We're back, and this is what my hand looks like after about 6 minutes in the coffee tub. And she would dye her whole body, so she would pour a whole cup of coffee grounds in the bathtub, and she would soak for about 30 minutes. but the longer you soak, like this isn't very much different since it was only a little bit of time. So the longer you soak in it, the darker your skin will get. That's all for now. Never stop learning, subscribe, and like. One more thing I forgot to tell you. If you want to read a really good book on her, on Amy Carmichael, there's a book written by Elizabeth Elliot called A Chance to Die, this life legacy of Amy Carmichael, or the story of Amy Carmichael. And it's a really good book. I read it, it's wonderful, but it does use hard words for some little kids to read. And I had to ask my mom for help, but other than that, it's really good. Bye again!